I used to jog through the park every Saturday morning, rain or shine. It was one of the few fixed points in a life that didn't have many. No wife waiting at home, no kids to chase after, not even a dog. Just me and a handful of habits I'd built to fill the silence. Saturdays belonged to the park. Tuesdays and Thursdays belonged to the gym. Sundays were for groceries. It wasn't much of a life, but it was mine, and I made my peace with it. Then one morning a boy with a black eye fell in a step beside me, and nothing about my routine ever looked the same again. Have you ever been asked to do something that scared you half to death but still felt like the right thing? I'd love to hear about it in the comments. He couldn't have been more than 9 or 10, small in the way kids get when they haven't had enough good meals, dressed in a superhero shirt gone soft from too many washes and jeans blown out of both knees. The bruise around his eye was still fresh, a deep plum color spreading into the swelling. He matched my pace without a word, just appeared there beside me, breathing hard. I gave him a glance and looked away again, told myself it wasn't my concern. But there was something about the way he carried himself. Something lost. "You all right?" I finally asked. He looked over like he hadn't expected me to actually talk to him. "I'm fine." That I says otherwise. He touched it gingerly and flinched. I fell. Must have been some fall. He didn't answer that one. We ran on without talking until I noticed his breath turning ragged, and without really deciding to, I eased off my pace so he could keep up. Then, barely above a whisper, he spoke again. "Sir, can I ask you something?" "Sure. Can you be my dad for one day?" I stopped dead. "What?" "Just one day. Tomorrow. At school. There's this event, Dads and Kids Sports Day. Everyone brings their dad. I don't have one, and I don't want to be the only kid standing there without one." Something twisted in my chest. "Kid, I don't know. Please. I know it's weird. I know you're a stranger, but there's nobody else I can ask. My mom's always working. I don't have uncles, grandpas, nobody. What about your own dad?" His expression collapsed. He took off when I was 2. I don't even remember him. "I'm sorry. It's fine, I'm used to it. But tomorrow all the other kids are going to have their dad standing right there, and I'll be the only one alone, and the kids who already pick on me are going to have a field day. I can't face that by myself." I studied him, this skinny, frightened kid with a bruised face and a request that made no sense at all. Every ounce of common sense told me to keep walking, that this was messier and heavier than anything I had business getting involved in. But I didn't walk away. "What's your name?" I asked. "Charlie." "I'm Jason." Jason. "Charlie, why do the other kids give you a hard time?" He paused before answering. "Lots of reasons. I got asthma, so I'm slow. My mom, we don't have much money, and I don't have a dad. They call me names for it. Sometimes they shove me around. Yesterday, one of them just hit me. That's where the black eye came from." "Yeah. Did you tell a teacher?" "No. That'd just make it worse." I knew exactly what he meant. I'd worn that same bruise as a kid, and I remembered how telling an adult never fixed anything. It just made you the kid who ratted. "Charlie, I'm honestly not sure I'm the right guy for this. You're the only one who's even stopped to talk to me. Everybody else just walks past like I don't exist. Does your mom know you're out here asking strangers to play dad?" "No. She'd be furious. But she's at work right now. She's almost always at work. She cleans at the school and at some office building downtown. She's exhausted all the time. I don't want to add to that. A cleaner at his own school. That went a long way toward explaining the bullying. Kids can be merciless, especially toward other kids whose parents they've decided rank beneath them. Charlie, this is a lot to ask of someone. You understand that?" "I know. I'm sorry. I'm out of options. The event's tomorrow, and I can't walk in there alone. I can't." I looked at him fighting so hard not to cry, and I thought about my own life, quiet and empty as it was. What exactly did I stand to lose? "Okay." His head came up fast. "What?" "Okay. I'll do it. I'll be your dad for a day." "Really?" "Really. But we talk to your mother first. I'm not doing this without her say so. She'll say no. Then we'll convince her together." He gave me a small, uncertain smile, like he couldn't quite trust it was real. "Thank you, Jason. Don't thank me yet. We haven't gotten past your mom." Charlie's building sat at the edge of town, paint flaking off the walls, a chain-link fence sagging around the lot. We climbed 3 flights, and Charlie knocked. A woman opened the door, early 30s, worn out around the eyes, hair yanked back into a ponytail, still in her cleaning uniform. Charlie, I just walked in and couldn't find you anywhere. Her eyes moved from her son to me, and suspicion flickered across her face instantly. Who's this? Mom, this is Jason. He's going to be my dad tomorrow. She froze. What? For the sports day thing at school. He said he'd come with me. Her gaze swung back to me, no warmth in it at all. Can I speak with you? Alone? Of course. She stepped into the hallway and pulled the door shut behind her. Who are you? Jason Walton. I ran into Charlie at the park this morning. He asked if I'd stand in as his dad for tomorrow's school event. And you said yes. To some kid you'd never met? I know how it sounds. It sounds dangerous. You're a grown man. He's 9. I understand that, but I'm not. I'm not a threat to him. He just looks so desperate, and I don't have any kids of my own, and I thought maybe I could help. Why would you want to help a kid you've never laid eyes on? Fair question. Because I got bullied at his age too, and there wasn't a single person who stood up for me. I always wished there had been. So when Charlie asked, I couldn't bring myself to say no. She studied me hard for a long moment. What do you do for a living? I fix servers, corporate networks. Married? No, never have been. Kids? You already answered that. Any criminal record? No. Why no kids of your own? Never met the right person, honestly, and I'm not exactly the outgoing type. I couldn't tell you what kind of father I'd make. Her posture eased just slightly. He told you about the event? He did. Dad's and Kids Sports Day. And you're offering to give up your Sunday, pretending to be his father? If you'll let me. She let out a long breath. I can't be there. I'm covering someone's shift. If I skip it, I lose the job. I understand. And he's been talking about this event for weeks now. Every kid in his class is bringing their dad. He's been so withdrawn lately. So down. It kills me that I can't give him that. You give him plenty. The way he talks about you, you're basically a superhero to him. Her eyes went glassy, and she looked away. He's such a good kid. He doesn't deserve what he gets at that school. What does he get? Bullying. For the asthma. For us being broke. For not having a father. For me working there as a cleaner. Kids don't hold back. I know that better than you'd think. She turned back to me. If you hurt him, I won't. If you do anything even slightly wrong, I won't. I promise you. I just want to help him. A long silence stretched out. All right, you can take him tomorrow. But I want your number, and I want to check in every hour. And if anything feels off, I'm calling the police. That's more than fair. We swapped numbers. She opened the door again, and there was Charlie, clearly having listened to the whole thing. Charlie, Jason's taking you tomorrow, but you mind him, and you check in with me. His whole face lit up. Really? Really? He threw his arms around her. Thank you, Mom. Thank Jason. He's the one making this happen. Charlie turned to face me. Thank you, Jason. You're welcome, buddy. Sunday morning at 8, I pulled up outside Charlie's building. He was already waiting on the curb, scrubbed clean, hair combed flat, grinning. Ready? I asked. Yeah. We drove over to the school, where the lot was already jammed with cars, dads and kids scattered everywhere, tossing footballs, laughing, playing catch. Charlie went quiet beside me. You good? I asked. What if they figure out you're not my real dad? Then we tell them the truth, that I'm a family friend helping out. What if they laugh? Then we let them. Charlie, there's nothing wrong with you, or your mom, or with me being here today. Understand? Okay. We climbed out of the car. Somebody shouted, Hey, look, the loser actually showed up. Charlie went rigid. I turned toward the voice, a boy roughly Charlie's age, but broader, with a self-satisfied smirk plastered on. Brandon, Charlie murmured. That's Brandon Cooper. He's the one who did this to my eye. Brandon sauntered over flanked by 2 other boys. Who's this, Charlie, your fake dad? He's not fake, Charlie shot back, his voice unsteady. Sure he is. Your real dad didn't stick around 'cause you're broken, so you had to go rent some loser just like you. I moved forward. That's enough. Brandon looked me over and smirked wider. Who are you supposed to be? I'm Jason. I'm here with Charlie, and you're going to leave him alone. Or what? Or I have a conversation with your father, who I'm guessing is somewhere in this parking lot. The smirk faltered just a little. My dad doesn't care what you think. Maybe not, but he might care to hear his son's been giving other kids black eyes. Brandon hesitated, then jerked his head at his friends. Whatever, let's go. They walked off. Charlie let out a breath. Thank you. Anytime. The events kicked off, relays, tug of war, three-legged races. Charlie and I threw ourselves into every one of them. His asthma slowed him down, and we didn't win a single thing, but he was grinning the whole way through. Between events, some of the other fathers eyed me. A few nodded, most ignored me outright. One walked over, older, dressed in an expensive polo, wearing an air of self-importance. You're here with the Hampton boy? Yeah, Charlie. Richard Cooper, Brandon's dad. Jason Walton. Brandon says you threatened him. I told him to quit bullying Charlie. Kids rib each other. It's part of growing up. Your son gave Charlie a black eye. Boys tussle, it happens. It shouldn't. Richard shrugged it off. Maybe if the kid had a real father around, he'd know how to hold his own. I stared him down. Excuse me? I said maybe if his mother hadn't. Stop right there. I'm sorry. Charlie's mother works 2 jobs to support him. She's at one of them right now instead of standing here because she's the one providing for her son on her own. And you're going to talk about her like that? I'm only saying. You're saying your son's a bully because you raised him to look down on people. That's what you're actually saying. His face reddened. Who do you think you are? Someone who showed up for a kid that needed it. What's your excuse? He stepped in closer. You'd better watch how you talk to me. Or what? You'll have your son go after Charlie again. Other parents had started watching by now. Richard glanced around, realized people were paying attention, muttered, "This isn't over," and stalked off. Charlie appeared at my side. That was awesome. Probably shouldn't have said all that. No, it was exactly right. Nobody ever stands up to Brandon's dad. Well, somebody should have a long time ago. The final event was a father-son relay, sprint to the cone, back to the start, tag your kid, kid runs it. First team across wins. Charlie looked uneasy. Jason, I don't know if I can do this, my asthma. Hey, we're not here to win. We're here to show up and have a good time. That's all that matters. But everyone laugh if I'm slow. Let them. We'll cross that line together, okay? He nodded. Okay. We lined up with Brandon and his father right next to us, Brandon shooting Charlie a smug look. The whistles sounded and the dads bolted. I ran like everything depended on it, hit the cone, sprinted back, tagged Charlie. He took off, noticeably slower than the rest, already struggling for air. Halfway to the cone, he started. Wheezing hard. I could see the panic setting in on his face before he doubled over, gasping. The other kids blew past him, laughing. Come on, Charlie, you're so slow. I bolted onto the field. Charlie. He looked up at me, eyes wet. I can't breathe. Where's your inhaler? My bag over there. I sprinted for the sideline, dug it out of his bag, ran back, and dropped to my knees beside him. Here, use this. He pulled one puff, then another, and slowly his breathing evened out. The race had gone on without us. We were dead last by a wide margin. Brandon shot past. Loser. I pulled Charlie to his feet. You okay? Yeah. Sorry. For what? For wrecking the race. You didn't wreck anything. You had an asthma attack. That's not on you. Everyone thinks I'm weak. You're not weak. Having a medical condition doesn't make you weak. It makes you strong because you keep pushing even when it's harder for you than it is for everyone else. He looked up at me. Really? Really? So you want to finish this thing? We're already last. We've already lost. We can still cross that line, though. He gave a small smile. Yeah, let's finish it. We walked, slow and steady, his hand wrapped in mine, everyone else already done, and watching us now, a few kids whispering, pointing. Charlie kept walking anyway. And when we finally crossed the line, dead last, he threw his arms up like he'd won the whole thing. A handful of parents clapped. Not many, but some. Charlie didn't care either way. He was beaming. As the crowd thinned out and families packed up to head home, Charlie and I sat down in the grass with our water bottles. Thanks for today, he said. I know we didn't win anything, but I had a really good time. Me too, buddy. Do you think my real dad would have done any of this if he'd been here? I didn't have a good answer for that. I don't know, Charlie. I never met your dad. My mom never talks about him. But I think he left because of me. What? Why would you think that? Because of my asthma. I was born with it, and he left when I was 2, right around when the doctors figured out how bad it was. I think he just didn't want a sick kid around. Something in me broke a little. Charlie, I have no idea why your father left, but I promise you it had nothing to do with your asthma. How do you know that? Because no decent father walks out because his son is sick. If he left, that's on something broken in him, not in you. Listen to me. You are not the reason he's gone. You're smart, you're kind, you're brave, and any father would be lucky to call you his son. He wiped at his eyes. You really mean that? I do. He wrapped his arms around me out of nowhere, tight, and I froze for a second before hugging him back. I was loading his bag into the trunk when I heard someone call my name. Jason? I turned around. A woman in a cleaning uniform, Charlie's mother. Lori? I thought you had work. Got off early. Someone covered the last of my shift. I wanted to catch how Charlie did. Charlie came sprinting over. Mom, you made it. Hey, baby, how'd it go? It was amazing. Jason was the best fake dad ever. She smiled and turned to me. Thank you for doing this. My pleasure, honestly. He's a great kid. Everything go smoothly? I hesitated, and Charlie jumped in before I could answer. Jason told off Brandon's dad, and he saved me when I had an asthma attack during the race. The color drained from her face. You had an attack? I am okay, Mom. Jason grabbed my inhaler, and we still finished the race. We came in last, but we finished. She looked at me, equal parts grateful and shaken. Thank you for looking after him. Of course. She crouched down to Charlie's level. Baby, go wait by the car for a second. I need to talk to Jason. Okay. He ran off. Lori straightened. He asked you about his father, didn't he? Yeah. He thinks his dad left because of the asthma. She shut her eyes. I was afraid of that. He needs to hear the truth, whatever it is. The truth is his father's a coward. We were young. I got pregnant. He said he'd stick around, but once Charlie turned 2, he decided fatherhood wasn't for him. It had nothing to do with the asthma. He just didn't want the responsibility. Does Charlie know that? No. I never knew how to tell him. I didn't want him thinking he wasn't wanted. He already thinks that. He's convinced he's the reason his dad left. She wiped her eyes. God, I don't even know what to do. Talk to him, tell him the truth. He can handle it. I don't want to hurt him. He's already hurting. The truth will hurt less than blaming himself forever. She nodded slowly. You're right. I'll talk to him tonight. Good. She looked at me a moment longer. You're a good man, Jason. Thank you for showing up for him. Most people wouldn't have. I'm glad I did. Would you want to see him again sometime? Maybe grab lunch? He clearly likes having you around, and he could use a decent male role model in his life. I like that a lot. She smiled. Good, I'll call you. 2 weeks later she did, asking if I wanted to join them for pizza. I said yes without hesitation. We met at a place near their apartment. Charlie was already there, grinning ear to ear. Jason, hey buddy, how's it going? Good, I got an A on my science test, and Brandon got suspended for shoving another kid. That's great, well, not the shoving, but nice work on the test. Lori arrived with drinks in hand. Hey, Jason. Hey. We sat, ordered, talked. Charlie rambled about school, a project he was working on, a new friend he'd made who also didn't have a dad around. We're starting a club, Charlie announced, for kids without dads, so we got people to hang out with, and it doesn't feel so weird. That's a great idea. You could help. You could be like the club advisor. I glanced at Lori, who was already smiling. I think Jason's probably too busy for that, she said. Actually, I said I'm not. I'd love to help. Charlie's face lit up. Really? Really? Lori's smile widened. That's really kind of you. It's not kindness. It's something I actually want to do. A month later, the club, Kids Without Dads, had grown to 7 members. We gathered every Saturday at the community center, ran games, worked on projects, just talked. Some of those kids had lost fathers to death. Some had fathers behind bars. Some had fathers who simply left. Every single one of them needed somebody to show up. So I did. And little by little, my quiet, empty life stopped feeling so empty. 3 months in, Lori and I sat over coffee while Charlie was off at a friend's house. He talks about you nonstop. She said, it's Jason this, Jason that. I think he sees you as a father figure now. Is that all right with you? I don't want to overstep anything. It's more than all right. He's happier than I've seen him in years. Honestly, so am I. Yeah? Yeah. You've been really good for us. Both of us. She reached across and rested her hand over mine. I looked at this woman who'd worn herself down to nothing, keeping her son fed and safe, who'd never once asked for help even though she needed it badly. You've been pretty good for me too, I told her. She smiled. Jason, I know we haven't known each other very long, but it feels like, I don't know, like you were meant to show up in that park that day. I feel the same way. Lori, would you want to get dinner sometime, like an actual date? Yeah, like a date. She smiled wider. I'd really like that. 6 months after that, Charlie's school held its science fair night. This time I wasn't standing in for anybody. I was there because I genuinely wanted to be, because Charlie had asked me himself to come see his project. Lori stood beside me as we watched Charlie explain his volcano model to the judges, confident, smiling, no bruises, no fear anywhere on him. He's come so far, Lori whispered. He has, and so have you both. Because of you. No, because of you, you never once gave up on him. You worked 2 jobs, you fought for him every day. I just showed up. Showing up is what matters. Yeah, it really is. Charlie finished up and ran over to us. What did you think? You were incredible, I said. Think I'll win? I don't know, but I'm proud of you regardless. He hugged me tight. Thanks, Jason. Anytime, buddy. Lori took my hand and squeezed it, and I understood in that moment that this was my family now. A year passed. Charlie's 10th birthday landed, and we celebrated right there in the park, the very same one where we'd first crossed paths. There were other kids there now, too, from the club, along with their mothers. Charlie blew out his candles and made his wish. What did you wish for? I asked. Can't tell you, or it won't come true. Fair enough. Later, once the party had wound down, Charlie pulled me aside. Jason, can I tell you something? Of course. I know you're not my real dad, I know that, but you're the best dad I could have ever asked for, and I love you. My throat closed up. I love you too, Charlie. Do you think you'll stay forever? I dropped to one knee and looked him straight in the eye. I'm not going anywhere, I promise. He hugged me hard. Lori came over and slid her arm around my waist. You okay? She asked. Yeah, I said better than okay. 2 years back, I was jogging alone through that park like any other Saturday. A kid with a black eye fell in a step beside me and asked, Sir, can you be my dad for one day? I could have said no. Maybe I should have said no. But I didn't, and that single day became every day after it. That one small act of showing up became my entire family. Charlie's in 6th grade now, doing well, still has his asthma, still catches grief for it sometimes, but he's not carrying it alone anymore. He's got me, he's got his mom, he's got his club, and I've got them. Sometimes, late at night, my mind wanders back to that day in the park. What if I'd kept walking? What if I told him no? Charlie would have faced that school event completely alone, would have been bullied, would have felt abandoned all over again. And I'd have gone home to my quiet, empty apartment and my same old routines. We'd both have gotten by fine, probably, but neither of us would have been happy. These days I wake up to Charlie bouncing on my bed. Jason, come on, we're going to be late. I make him breakfast, drop him at school, help with his homework, coach his baseball team, show up for his science fairs, his concerts, everything he does. Because that's what dads do, they show up. Last week, Charlie got into another fight. Not his fault. Some kid was mocking one of his friends. I picked him up outside the principal's office. Am I in trouble? He asked. With the school, yeah. With me? No, you were sticking up for your friend. I'd have done the exact same thing. Really? Really. But next time, try words before fists. Violence should always be the last resort. We drove home quiet for a while. Then he spoke up. Jason. Yeah, I'm glad you said yes. That day in the park. Me too, buddy. Do you ever regret it? Never, not once. Good, because neither do I. Which moment landed hardest for you? Charlie asking Jason to be his dad, or Jason facing down Brandon's father? Drop your thoughts and your own stories about showing up for someone in the comments below. If this story about unexpected family, standing up to bullies, and choosing to show up moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about courage, found family, and becoming exactly who someone needed. And don't forget the notification bell so you never miss the next one.